Chapter 6. Cloven Tongue. The cloven tongue is mentioned as a power which descended upon the disciples and caused them to understand all languages by dividing asunder the human thought limitation and knowledge and revealing the intelligence and wisdom of one. That is what is called hearing. Hearing is not something done through the organ of the senses, but something which goes beyond, and as the Spirit searches the joints and marrow and elevates one to the clear illumination of the mind of Jesus Christ. Entering into this capacity is not the work of a master or holy man. It is the capacity of every man who dares to smite the rock of belief and cause it to give forth living waters. This is not a dramatic display of emotion. It is a sudden realization that Jesus Christ said it is a capacity of every man to hear. Man has been centuries with all the instrumentation of hearing and yet has not heard the word, only the letter of it, which is dead. Now comes the capacity of entering into the one and discovering the infinite capacities of life. Then is he equipped to hear what a man is saying, even though he may submerge it in subtle double talk and diplomacy. The cloven tongue shall split it asunder, and he will hear what he is saying, and not what he is saying. He will see and understand the exact opposite of the human words, and so shall be able to stand in the light. So does a man discover the hidden capacities of the Christ mind within him. He can at will enter into the consciousness of that which has to do with him. He can, by the recognition of this, enter into the actual nature of a man and discover that which his lips refuse to say. This is not a stunt of a holy man, but a capacity of the mind of Jesus Christ within you, and which becomes an unconscious action finally. It is wonderful. Will you put the coal of fire on your lips? No one is going to believe you, and many may hate you for having discovered such a capacity. My grace is sufficient for thee. Is sufficient enough, or must you have more than sufficient? My grace, that substance which defies all definition because it is a quality of the love of God which has been given you. My grace is sufficient. It says sufficient for thee. Every time you enter the presence, you are filled with the Holy Ghost, the action of Spirit, that which is going through into manifestation. And it is this which amazes the human mind. Suddenly the picture disintegrates and falls into dust. We were hypnotized, says the man with breath in his nostrils. None so blind as those who will not see. And now we have another sense coming up for releasement, even as the cloven tongues released the obscuring human words and made plain the meaning of any so-called language. So does the cleaving power of the word rend the veil and release the vision of the Almighty and cause a man to see visions and dream dreams of reality right in the midst of the hell of human belief and fury. So did Jesus see you under the fig tree He didn't just see you, but he did see you under the fig tree. And it is this sight, prostituted by man and sold as a form of fortune telling. You are admonished to buy truth, but to sell it not. And so it goes until a man learns that he does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God, and that he is clothed with the Spirit, and that both of these movements are not in the nature of so-called demonstration, but a way of self-revelation, a thing that is normal and natural. If a man keep my sayings, he shall never taste death. Taste? Through the taste, a man supplies himself with the foods proper for sustaining the physical body. There is a sense discrimination which is synonymous with taste. A man must first hear the words of Jesus Christ. How is he going to hear them if they are passed through the thick veils of ancestor teaching and beliefs? Coloured by 1,000 religions, how will he hear the word uttered once through the temple of Jesus Christ? The purity of the words of Jesus Christ convulse the human mind. Finally, the rising waters will quench and drown at the same time. If he can hear what the scriptures say, then can he operate through his temple and dispel the darkened world of human thought. But he shall not force anything. He will cause it to be known that the command, consider the lilies, is something more than looking at flowers. It goes deep into the heart of the bulb from which it came. He begins to discover the permanency of the perfect creation of God, and he renews the manifestation called a body. He cleanses the temple. He lives in the world, but not of its passing fury, which today is here and tomorrow cast into the oven. The enemy in one war becomes the ally in another, and this cat and mouse game goes on until a man discovers the battle is not yours, but God's. Jesus went unto the Father, became one with the Father, and quite naturally discovered the dimension of the Father operating through the Son. Setting aside all the beliefs and limitations and so-called truths of the world of Maya. The Hindu in his Upanishads exclaims with joy on coming unto the One, the Father, Thou art the Self, and that Thou art that I am. It is a clear revelation that is without explanation, for it proceeds from pure recognition of God, universal and infinite. Once this is recognized, the capacities of this God become self-evident, and little by little, or suddenly, man approximates this eternal thing called life, unchanging yet constantly changing the manifestation. He begins finally to look out upon the changing manifestation, watching the transformation of himself take place, as he constantly throws off the effects of believing in two powers. The old body enclosure that threatened, according to his ancestor teaching, to destroy him, finally begins to slip away as the fresh manifestation of spirit pushes to the surface of visibility. He is transformed, changed, born again daily, and he remains eternally in the now of it all. All the hard, fast beliefs of the ancestors are cast away, uncoffined, unknelled, and unsung. They are worthy of nothing, fit only for the discard. Be ye then transformed by the renewing of your mind is not such a mystical process as would appear. It is something like the coming of dawn. Gradually it has happened and continues its effulgence and light into the full noonday. An English poem runs somewhat after this manner. If thou couldst empty thyself of self, like to a shell disinhabited, then would he fill it with himself instead. But thou art all filled with thou. That when he comes, he says, it is a now. The place is full. There is no room for me. We are so busy trying to fill everything with the self that little chance is left for the self to take over. There was no room at the inn when the greatest event in all history was to take place, and when the question is asked, what have ye in your house? The answer is a handful of meal and 3 drops of oil. There is nothing but self in the house until we make ready for the real self, that which was created, to take over and release the new dimensions shown to us and told to us by Jesus Christ as perfectly natural and real and indigenous to every man. That is the end of chapter 6.